SA Tourism, together with the Gauteng Tourism Authority, are today launching Tourism Month, which begins on the 1st of September this year. World Tourism Day is commemorated on the 27th of September, bringing awareness to the role that tourism plays in economic development and connecting people to places and cultures across the globe. Now, senior reporter Criselda Lewis is at the launch taking place at Sakumzi Zoo Lake in Johannesburg.
All right, we're still live from Zoo Lake here in Johannesburg, and this is where Tourism Month is being launched. South African Tourism together with tourism here in Gauteng. Part of the festivities today, of course, the official day starting on the 1st of September. But of course, to talk a bit about Johannesburg and what the prospects are for tourism in Johannesburg, we know that many people flock to this particular area for job opportunities and a host of other activities. But of course, tourists also flock here in their numbers. Let's chat now to Thandobuhle Mgudla, who's the CEO of the Johannesburg Tourism Company. Mr. Mgudla, thank you very much indeed for your time. We do appreciate it. I mean, Johannesburg is always that draw card, always has been. How have you positioned Johannesburg to attract tourists to this part of the country?
Thank you, Criselda, and to the viewers. Basically now we have started a process of rather a strategic initiative to reposition Johannesburg, and it's centered around really, three strategic elements where we have to look at the, hidden treasures in Joburg and quite repackage them and repurpose them and reposition them and promote effectively in order to gain a competitive edge. That would help us to achieve differentiation from competing destinations. Because if you look at the dynamic environment within tourism globally, there is a strong threat of new entrant destinations and other new competing destinations. There is a lot of global shift prompted by the movement of people influenced by the travel motives and needs. But what we're doing in the city now, we're expanding the sector. The identity, we have realized that we need to follow the identity of the city itself, which is centered around four elements. Johannesburg as a MICE destination, Johannesburg it being attached to strong liberation struggle legacy story, it being positioned as an entertainment capital in Africa. Then when we look at that, we've realized that we need to elevate the important features or attributes of the city itself in order to diversify our offering base. Because if you look at what actually Johannesburg exhibits on the basis of offerings, some of them are quite aging, and some of them have been there for probably for 20 years, 30 years, and more than half a decade to an extent. And we have been using we've been using the same selling line, and we have been targeting the same markets. But then when we realize that there are a lot of things that can set us apart from other competing destinations, we realize that, okay, let's focus on what we have and what Joburg is based on what Joburg is known for. Let us position Johannesburg on the basis of business tourism, and let's position Johannesburg not only on leisure, on lifestyle, as an entertainment capital. Then we see ourselves as a leading business and lifestyle tourist destination in Africa. How do we do that? Through planting the identified niches, which are as follows. We're going to apply mining tourism. The story of mining can remain forgotten in Johannesburg because it resonates with the story of discovery of gold in Johannesburg. Rail and transport, where people migrated from other places to seek other opportunities as a result of this discovery of gold. Business, events and lifestyle, those are obvious, but we want to elevate the importance as well of sports tourism and want to reposition as well business tourism, medical tourism, and elevate heritage and lifestyle in order for us to actually apply important attributes that are within the scope of offerings within the filming subsector and the heritage stories and legacy related stories. And
what have been some of the attractions that you've seen many people come to Johannesburg for, that have sustained even comeback visitors for that matter?
All right, the top performing destinations in Joburg, or attraction sites rather, for the lack of a better word, has been Constitution Hill, has been the viewing deck at the Carlton building, but it's closed now. We kind of establishing the first master plan for Johannesburg that is going to come up with strategies that will suggest on how it can be best utilized. But we're gonna reach out to one of the strategic partners, which is Transnet in this instance, to revive that kind of activity. And the other one was Apartheid Museum. There are other a bouquet of attraction sites and activities like Vilakazi Street in Soweto, which seems to be performing well, and we want to revive precincts like Newtown, Maboneng, and Braamfontein precinct and the Great.
What has happened? Sorry, Mr. Mkudla, to interject. What has happened in those areas? Once it started off, I mean, it was the place to be. Everyone wanted to go to those areas. But I've seen, including on social media, people lamenting the closing down of some of those establishments. That we're going to draw people back into the inner city. There's still issues, that people can complain about safety issues in the inner city. Those are things that need to be attended to. If at all you're going to be able to revive people to go into, the real Ekoli, which is inside in the inner city. Yes.
What now we're doing as a Joburg Tourism Company, we are developing the first master plan for the city with limited timelines or with limited lead times. Normally, a master plan to produce would take something like 18-month time frame. But then we're going to produce this one within 8 months. Because there is a sense of urgency by the city to revive the Joburg inner city. Like, for instance, what we're talking about, the main problem we've realized is that there has been not much effective, since 2016, there has been not much effective urban management within the city. Urban management involves a range of activities like safety, cleanliness, landscaping, place management, to ensure that there is traffic management and traffic control adequate to the kind of inflows and outflows that goes into the city for different business activities. Traffic lights are working, there are road markings, there are walkable streets. You're safe, so that we can say Joburg is a safe destination. But then, as a Joburg Tourism Company, we see ourselves playing a vital role after we have recommended the revival of these precincts, nodes and important streets. But other than that, that is not waiting only for the completion of the master plan or completion of the development of the master plan. There is a presidential intervention that has been pulled through by the executive mayor of the Johannesburg, Councillor Tata Morero, looking exactly at strategies that can be employed, working with provincial government and national government, private sector, civic organizations, and other formations to turn around the inner city and in a collective manner that would be regarded as a collective responsibility to reclaim Joburg and take it back to its glory and reposition it so that it can become one of the most pulling factors for tourism purposes in Johannesburg. We have seen a lot of work happening, undertaken by the Mayoral Service Delivery Blitz in the quest of the presidential intervention, of which there are some short-term interventions that have been executed successfully. When I'm saying short-term interventions, the planning horizons are not your normal planning horizons like 1 year, regarded as short-term, 3 years regarded as medium-term. We're working on 6 months, 18 months. We're working for realizing certain milestones achieved before G20, so that the inner city can be an attractive area for people to visit, because opulence generally is central to our business.
Those are very short timelines. We wish you all the best in getting those done. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Mgudlwa, talking to us about the prospects for Johannesburg, you know, trying to look at some of the areas which they'd want to focus on, and in particular areas, you know, which would be interesting to the tourism market. Some areas, of course, would need some rebranding. He spoke about the very short timelines that they're going to have to pull that through. Of course, with the G20 also coming up, the added pressure, of course, is on them to ensure that those deadlines are met.